Rahul tons of accomplishments.
Yeah, actually getting 9th at the World Championships because of that asymmetrical cut, but ended up losing a terrible matchup. And then Stephen Varesko on the right, no slouch himself, a top 8 at Columbus NAIC in 2022, top 8 Lancaster Regional in 2016, top 32 U.S. Nationals in 2014, and a regional finalist in Richmond in 2012. Both of these players are very familiar with each other. They come from the same kind of Virginia MD area, and they've known each other for about 15 years, or since 15 years old.
Wow.
And both of them basically learned how to play Pokemon from the likes of Michael Cramois, and really just soaking in all the information that they can, and playing the same deck but very different lists. Both of them hoping to take down their first big tournament win.
Prize cards going down here. I just love at the top, you got them in chinos, both up there, the same art exactly here too. I think the biggest thing to note here, especially on Rahul's prizes, that legacy energy is going to be a big one here, especially because it also acts as kind of what we like to call rainbow energy, where it can also go into that Raikou acting as the lightning energy. But we'll see what Rahul's going to be able to do. On Steven's side, nothing too crazy. 3 energy prize definitely doesn't feel too great, but the Iron Bundle's in there too.
Yeah, the legacy energy along with the Iron Hands EX is pretty bad news for Rahul in this game, but anything can happen in the game of Pokemon. We're gonna have to see which of our players are starting things off. Looks like Steven with the Iron Hands and a legacy energy to attach.
Dare I say there are 2 different starts to Lugia, Jeremy, and you have potentially the Iron Hands going down here as the attach with Legacy Energy, and that could have just been turned, but we are going to be able to see Mesagosa flip heads, so that means we get to grab any Pokemon out of the deck, and we get to start our first deck search here. Once again, Lugia can be kind of a coin flip type of deck here, but compared to Capturing Aroma, where you either get a basic from flipping tails or a evolution from flipping heads, if we're able to just get heads on a Mesagosa, we're able to just go in there and start setting up.
We've been talking about the energy in Lugia as well, and wow, yeah, right away, Ultra Ball double Archeops in the discard. This is the perfect start for Steven in this top 8 match.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for anything else either. No Carmine in the list for Steven either, so we're not going to go on in and Luminous Sign for anything here. We are just going to go on ahead and Ultra Ball double chops. You cannot ask for anything more. Has the Squawk ability in hand as well, so we are going to see a Squawk and Seize top 6 cards here, and we essentially get to just Carmine through Squawk.
Yeah, this is an insane start for Steven, and it just keeps going.
Gotta also point out here too that Lugia is also weak to lightning, so if Rahul doesn't get anything kind of set up here, we could be seeing an Ambu very much for 3 prizes, which could be, you know, what I like to say worst case scenario here, but passing the turn on over to Rahul, going to go on ahead and flip the Mesagosa, but it's a 5, so it's not going to be enough here. Let's see what we got in the hand. We got the Ultra Ball, discard 1 Archeops, but not a second one. The Earthen Vessel going to go down here as we are going to go in for our first deck search. I think it is also very important to note out here, Jeremy, that the 1 of Minccino is in the prizes. Rahul doesn't play a 2-2 line. It's just a 1 of, and it's all the way at the top.
Yeah, with that and the Legacy Energy roll is going to struggle at being able to mess up Steven's prize mapping for this game, at least until he starts taking a few prizes. The thing that still gives him a little bit of an out, there is the 1 basic Lightning Energy in the deck, so he can use a Raikou V to take a return KO against something like a Lugia V-Star. But Rahul does have 2 Lugia V, which is where you want to be against a start like Steven's. Has that Professor's Research, and there's both Archeops in the discard now as well for Rahul.
Honestly, you can't ask for a better showing from both Lugia, not only going first but going second, to show that it is possible to get that win condition into the discard as fast as possible. We see the Jet Energy attached from hand here. We do also get to read the wind here too if we want to go on ahead and discard, but before that, we are going to hit the Capturing Aroma. It is going to be a 2, so that means an evolution Pokemon straight out of the deck. probably is going to be that Archeops. It just makes the most sense here on this turn 1.
Capturing Aroma is one of those cards that you either love or you hate, and it all depends on that coin flip.
It's true. This really is kind of just the coin flip deck. It always kind of has been. It's definitely seen a lot of iterations before, but we will just be doing the read the wind, draw 3 cards here, on over to Steven's side. So I do believe we are going to go for another Mesa Gosa so we can find Lugia V-Star, and you can't ask for anything more than just hitting heads here. This is going to be Lugia V-Star into Summoning Star here, where we're going to be able to start accelerating energy. Honestly, Jeremy, this
is 3 prizes.
This is
sure,
3
yeah.
prizes for sure, but this is just a great start for Steven. And honestly, I don't know if Rahul is going to be able to catch up in time.
Yeah, the biggest thing for Rahul right now is staring down the 230 HP from that Iron Hands EX. News, if you don't know, Lugia V-Star does 220 damage. That is not enough to take the knockout, and if you let this Iron Hands EX go unchecked, it's going to be a pretty fast game.
Has the Jacques for turn as well, so we are able to go out and grab 2 evolution Pokemon, reveal them, and then throw them into your hand. So we're already going to be able to start setting up our Minccino here too, but it is just going to be the Lugia V-Star and another Archeops here. We will see the evolve into the V-Star power Summoning Star. Here comes Archeops both to the bench, and like we have been saying, Jeremy, this is a very tough game for Rahul to come back into, especially because Ampu very much is just the obvious choice right now.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill climb for sure. Now, Rahul did end up being the first seed of the tournament, so that means with the asymmetric cut, the way it turned out, he essentially didn't have to play the top 16-ish that we had. Steven ended up playing against Grafton Roll, playing the Origin Form Palkia V-Star deck with Dusknoir, which is usually a bad matchup for Lugia, but Steven was able to overcome Grafton in 3 games to able to take the victory and meet Rahul in this mirror match for top 8.
Okay, Primal Turbo twice going on over into the Iron Hands EX, getting ready to go. I really hope both of our players do the hand motions. I've been waiting for somebody down at the table to do it, maybe with good friends who've known each other since they were 15. We could have some joy in this match, but nevertheless here, still, we can evolve into Cinccino as well this turn if we want to. Things are looking really good for Steven. I mean, he is pretty set up.
Thank you very much for 3 prize cards, and now just another big attack possibility of winning the game. Even something if Rahul has to bench Luminion V, a simple boss's orders can seal up game 1 for Steven.
Also, I just want to kind of point out too that Steven just picked up the Iron Bundle coming out from the prizes too, so it's something to also note out. But there could be my caster pick of this regional Vezendipity, but we want to go on ahead and safeguard just a little bit too. Rahul using that nest ball to search the deck right now. It could be potentially a Raikou play if we really kind of get there, right? If we're able to find Raikou and our Lightning Energy, we could see something along the lines here, but it will be the Iron Bundle actually coming out from Rahul's side. Going to have to move one of these bench Pokemon into the active here. I wonder what Steven is going to go for.
Basically, Rahul doing this to where you kind of force Steven to make a play, and then you can decide what you're going to attack with. And here it looks like Steven is going to promote that Lugia V-Star, where it has no energy, but it's still going to be very hard for Rahul to take a knockout here.
Raikou V coming down, though, and this is exactly what we wanted to see. And I think what's very interesting about playing this Raikou, Jeremy, is that if we have Jet Energy from hand, that we can get Raikou into the active. The Legacy Energy, like we talked about, can also act as a Lightning Energy, and thus making Raikou V only worth 1 prize, even if we are able to get that. Now, granted, on the other side, though, that Luminion is also a great target for an Ampu very much.
Yeah, and you got to remember that one of Legacy Energy is in the prize cards. So Rahul does not have access to Jet Energy to bring up the Raikou, is going to be forced to retreat possibly this Lugia V-Star in the active spot and attach the Lightning from your hand manually.
Exactly our favorite thing that we want to see here, but here comes our second Primal Turbo here, and like you said, just 1 V-Guard here onto our Raikou. See how exactly it's going to play out, but just a very unfortunate game for Rahul. Two missed flipped heads on Mesagosa. The Legacy Energy is quite literally the first prize at the bottom, but then again, you look at Steven Varesko's side, and Steven was able to flip heads, Ultra Ball, double chops in the discard turn 1. Things are looking real good for him, but here comes Pheasantipity. We're going to flip the script, but there's that lightning here, so we will be able to see an attack.
Yeah, that is huge here. Rahul having the lightning in hand, even though he discarded the Earthen Vessel on the first turn. Now this Raiko will be able to take a knockout and at least try to keep up in this prize trade. Granted, Steven just needs another big attack from the Iron Hands EX, but at least the way Rahul set up the board, there's no one-hit knockout potential for Ampu very much.
Do have the Minccino going into the active here, and now it is going to be the draw for turn. Has Pheasantipity in hand as well if we want to draw more cards, but I think a lot of the times with Lugia in particular, sometimes we fill the bench a little bit too much, but there is the evolution into the Cinccino here. Special roll, 70 times as many special energy onto that Pokemon. There's the Pheasantipity hitting the bench. I'm assuming we are going to be flipping the script here, where if your Pokemon was knocked out last turn, you are able to draw 3 cards. It's such a great ability, but Gift Energy as our manual attach. I have no worry in the world that Steven Varesko is not going to be able to take this knockout this turn.
Yeah, it needs one more energy, but you know what's good at getting energy in play? Archeops with Primal Turbo.
There you go. Feels really good here. And we can also use our second Primal Turbo to keep stacking up energy if we want to around the board, so we don't have to overcommit here. But the prize trade at this point, Jeremy, is just so in Steven's favor. Rahul just needs a way out.
Yeah, and my mistake, it's actually a 4 energy because the double turbo reduces the 20 damage. Special roll only does it per special energy card. So the double turbo, while providing 2 energy, it is just 1 special energy card.
Totally okay when you still play 16 energy. I feel like all the Lugias that we've had streamed for the past weekend, right, have played different counts of energy. We've seen as low as 14 to as high as 18 energy here, and we've seen what happens when you run out, but especially when Steven is playing so reserved and disciplined. Honestly, how could you say that anything could go wrong here? What a great, great game so far for Steven Varesko, who only needs 1 more prize to take game 1.
Yeah, this is just a great start from Steven in this mirror match, really utilizing starting that Iron Hands EX, and just the fact that he's playing a 2-2 line of Cinccino really helps reach those big KOs as the game goes on, even against something like a Lugia V-Star. Now, we're going to probably have just a knockout on the active Cinccino, because if it stays around, it's game over for Rahul. That Cinccino can knock out anything, so you're going to have to rely on hoping an Iono maybe sticks Steven with 1 or 2 cards, but if you take a knockout, Pheasantipity EX starts to draw 3 cards, find the boss's orders, maybe find a Luminion of Steven's own, and it's really spelling doom out for Rahul in this game 1.
From what I can see in Steven's hand, that Luminion might already just be there, so I think hand disruption at this point kind of feels like it's the only way to go about it. Maybe one of the 2 Ionos, I believe, or just there's 2 Ionos in Rahul's list, but Rahul recognizes that the prize trade is just not in his favor. Steven Varesko with quite possibly the most perfect game of Lugia I think I've ever seen. Ultra Ball, double Archeops in discard, flipping heads on Mesagosa 3 times. Can't ask for anything more as a Lugia player.
Yeah, well, especially against a match where it really is based on who goes first. Steven won the coin flip and is able to just continue the rolling of this game 1. Let's go ahead and take a look again at how Steven was able to accomplish a pretty clean victory here in top 8.
You can't ask for a better board state than this if you're a Lugia player, right? I mean, you're up against a colorless Pokemon with a weakness to lightning, and there you go. You have the Legacy Energy. You also have just all of these tools to go on ahead and get it done. But the problem is, Steven went first and had quite possibly the best turn, and sometimes it feels like in these mirror matches, in general, whoever goes first and who's ever able to flip heads just does it correctly. So honestly, it is going to be Steven taking a game 1, but let's see how Rahul plays, probably going first in game number 2.
And some updates out on the field in our other top 8 match, I believe. Emmett Hurley is up 1-0 versus Ian Robb. Ian Robb winning in that asymmetrical cut against the control deck, pretty much pulling it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
With an Iono leaving a lone cornerstone just to take some damage from a Reggie Drago V for a couple turns, and honestly really trying to do another big run back here.
Well, it is going to be Rahul going first, and from what I can see on my screen with the die laying on top, that's also 1 mulligan. So we do actually get to draw an extra card here too. So that definitely feels good when you're already 1 going first and 2 drawing that extra card here for turn. So we'll see what is going to happen as we are going to see our prize cards already laid out for Rahul. Nothing too crazy. I think on Rahul's side, I see a Professor's Research, see the Iono, but we also see the one of Jacques. 2 a special energy prize, but my goodness, you want to talk about special energy prize? I want to talk about Steven's prize cards as soon as possible because 4 is a lot.
Rahul is going to start things off though, and it does get the tails on the Capturing Aroma. Again, it's a hit or miss card, and right now Rahul hits, going to be able to find a Lugia V. That is the most important thing for a deck like this. And yeah, as you were saying, look at that Iron Hands EX in the prize cards along with 3 Jet Energy and a Gift Energy along with a Minccino. That might be bad.
I was going to say, just judging from the deck list, while last game, a Minccino being prized for Rahul meant that he couldn't utilize the line at all, a Minccino being prized for Steven means that we just still have 1 in the deck. So one of my favorite things about the Pokemon trading card game is, yes, you can absolutely play the same list as somebody else, but the good news is you can remix that list to be whichever way you want to. But it is just going to be the Gift Energy onto Lugia here, having Rear Deer V in the active, and we'll see what Steven's going to be able to do on his turn.
It's the big flip for Steven. A Tails hits the basic. I think that was the only route for Lugia V for the turn for Steven. Possibly could even go for a Luminion V just because the hand seems that poor.
I don't think there's too many liabilities in that hand in order if we want to just throw it away or not. No Professor's Research in the prizes either, so we are going to be able to just find that Luminous sign, but it looks like Steven doing his counts right now, and it's very important on this first deck check to be a little bit diligent here too, especially when you're counting your Pokemon, you're counting also your special energy in here as well. So see what Steven is going to be able to do here. Here comes that Squawkabilly EX you were alluding to.
Squawkabilly is just the best card to be able to grab this turn 1. You can use its Squawk and Seize ability, discard your hand to draw 6, and then still play a supporter afterwards. And there is, ooh, look, double Archeops in the hand. There's a couple double Turbo, which is a little bit worrisome, but you got to do what you got to do.
Dare I say that in this matchup, Pheasantipity with Cruel Arrow can also be an attacker. Now, granted, it wouldn't be ideal, right? But you need 3 colorless energy, and then you're able to do 100 damage to 1 of the Pokemon out on the field. It's not like we said an ideal line, but no Lugia there off of the Squawk and Seize. We might just have to flip for it here through Mesagosa.
Wow, this is pretty intense turn 1. Again, if you don't get a Lugia V in a mirror match like this, you're just so far behind. There is an Ultra Ball though, so I think we're fine here. Gonna be able to thin a little bit with the Jacques.
It's looking a little bit better here too. So it is going to be that Jacques, like you had mentioned, Ultra Ball, and going to be the golden combo, as I like to call it. Ultra Ball, but only going to be actually 1 Archeops there. I think we got one in the Squawk and Seize just a little bit earlier, but
there's already 2 in there.
Yeah, okay.
And to speak on your point earlier with the Cruel Arrows, I was talking with Steven a little bit before the match, and he actually was like, yeah, it's been an option in a lot of my games, especially against decks that are trying to set up an evolution Pokemon, or like the Dusknoir that he was facing down against Grafton in the previous round.
Yeah, we're not seeing a lot of Manaphy's or a lot of bench protection just in general for this regional here too. So it's definitely an option. Cruel Arrow also can take down a potential Minccino too before it evolves. There's a lot of ways to go about it, but it will just be the manual attach of Gift Energy, benching the Lugia V, and the pass over here back to Rahul. See what he's able to get done here. There's that Jet Energy from hand. can just move your Pokemon into the active here, but a great Iono coming out from Rahul. Both players going to be able to draw 6 cards, and we'll see what is going to be able to come of it. Legacy energy from hand, but draws right into that Lugia V-Star. You can't ask for anything more if you're Rahul.
Maybe a couple Archeops in the
Okay,
discard,
that's
but
fair.
there is 0 right now. Needed a lot of help with this Iono to 6, but did not find it. Did find an Ultra Ball, but again, you can search for it, but then you can't grab another one. I think we might just be seeing a Read the Wind here, and you're not even discarding an Archeops with it.
Right now, but seeing more cards could help here. Still, Pheasantipity in the active with a gift energy on it. Can't say that I've seen it too much this tournament. Let's see how it is going to go. But like you said, Rahul, it is going to be the Read the Wind on the boss's orders, because honestly, you can't pitch away your legacy energy, and you're going to see more cards anyway with Professor's Research. But I like the draw of the Capturing Aroma there. We do have a 50% chance we can see an Archeops this turn, but like you said, huge miss here for Rahul. So that means it's time for Steven to kind of press on the Jets here. We could get that Lugia V-Star. We know that Archeops is in the discard already. Capturing Aroma coming out, so it is going to be a basic Pokemon coming in here for Steven. Dare I say that we could start getting some of our Minchinos ready?
Yeah, potentially just trying to line up a play like that, but I think the goal right now for Steven is to get those double Archeops into play, charge up a Lugia V-Star without a double Turbo Energy. That way you can take a knockout on something like the Lugia V or, the Weird Ear V that is brought up by Hyper Blower. This is a great hand from Steven after that Iono.
Another basic coming down here for the Capturing Aroma. And I think we are going to start seeing some of the Minchinos start to hit the bench here. Once again, a huge miss from Rahul allows for Steven to start getting into position here to go this 2-2-2 prize route. I have to say, it's just been a really great showing from Steven. Dare I say the Iono helped Steven more than it did for Rahul.
Yeah, and it's usually like that, at least in my experience. You always help your opponent out more than yourself, but a Summoning Star for the double Archeops is not what Rahul wants to see. It's always great starting first in a mirror match like this, but when you can't capitalize on it, then you just give that advantage away to your opponent.
Primal Turbo 1 here, going to be stacking up that Lugia. And like you said, not going to attach any double Turbo energy here. We want to just go on ahead and just hit for the full amount here. But I think it's really important that we point out that the V-Guard energy is going here. So even if Lugia were to have 4 special energy there, no double Turbo energy, the V-Guard energy is still going to subtract some of that damage amount here too. So it will be Steven Varesko getting the first 2 prizes here. Could go either way, but Rahul definitely needs some help from 2 of these Capturing Aromas. What will it be? It will just be a basic here. Honestly, Rahul has not flipped heads a lot here, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's a skill issue probably, but we'll probably have to find out from him. Raiko is a good find. If you are able to build up the bench a little bit, you can go ahead and cobble together the Archeops, Summoning Star, and maybe get a knockout through the V-Guard energy thanks to the weakness, but it's going to have to rely on the good old flip the script to try to find some help.
Well, dare I say, and I've been saying it all weekend at this point, Jeremy, that drawing cards is just what we're going to have to do here. So let's hope a couple of shuffles here will give us some Archeops that we can actually work with. I see a Blood Moon Ursaluna. I do not see an Archeops in sight. So the Legacy Energy going on to the Raiko V here. Professor's Research. There's an Archeops. Do we have a way of discarding it? We do with the Ultra Ball. Rahul trying his best to get back into this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, this looks like a single Archeops play if Rahul decides to go for that. I guess you have the fleet-footed option here. Drawing into the second Archeops would be ideal.
And it's not.
Mezzagoza.
Yeah, but here it comes. It comes all down to this coin flip. He will finally be able to flip heads here after what I think was about 7 dice rolls. You could tell the smile on Rahul's face. Finally going to be able to get that second Archeops. And thanks to that Ultra Ball here, we are going to be able to see Ultra Ball double Archeops into that discard. Here comes that Summoning Star onto Rahul's side. And Jeremy, this game just got a lot more interesting.
Indeed, but you also have to just be worried about Steven's board setup right now. The double Archeops, the Minchino, along with that Pheasantipity EX really is just a good game plan against any sort of disruption from Rahul. Granted, he did Professor's research this turn, so as long as Steven has access to the Chinchino, that's an easy knockout. Granted, you're only taking one prize thanks to that Legacy Energy.
Feels very good indeed. So Rahul going to be able to make a Titan comeback because it certainly was not looking good for the first couple turns here, but we love to see it when a successful coin flip goes in the way, and we will have a match of Pokemon here. But here comes Raiko V hitting Lugia V for weakness, and it even hits through the V-Guard energy as well. That Lightning Rondo here. Not going to be getting anything too crazy out of the prize cards at this point. Has a jet energy, I would say, if Raiko does take a hit. But you know what Steven is looking for. He's looking for a boss's orders.
Boss's orders would help with the prize mapping for the game. And granted, you could have access to it if you flip a heads with Mezagoza. You're up in prizes, so you can find that Luminion. You could also just draw into it with the flip the script. A lot of options here for Steven.
Checking the discard pile here for Rahul. To consider all of our options here, but flip the script. Pokemon knocked out. You get to draw 3 cards, and I believe I just saw the Luminion potentially here. A lot of lines that we have. We have to do a little bit of flipping, though. I believe Chinchino might be in hand, or it might just be another Minchino, but there's a Blood Moon Ursaluna in there. I do see the Luminion. I'm pretty sure it's there.
And again, with the Luminion, you kind of want to avoid benching it a lot in these matchups just because it's an easy prize for something like your opponent's Iron Hands EX, but you already got that Squawkabilly EX down there. You have that Pheasantipity, which is an easy KO from a Lugia V-Star, so we might as well see it. But the heads flip was huge here, grabbing that Chinchino from the deck.
Chinchino going to come down and evolve here. Like we said, special role, just a great addition to this Lugia V-Star deck. But there it is, the Luminion V hitting the bench. We are going to be using that Luminous Sign ability to grab a supporter from the deck. There's that boss's orders. You can only imagine what's going to be sent up. Dare I say, Jeremy, that I think the Pheasantipity pull could also be a good idea.
It is probably the one you want to target the most just because of the draw power, but the thing is, the Lugia V-Star is just very hard to take a one-hit knockout outside of something like that Chinchino. So you might just be forced to take the 2 prizes there. It gets 2 energy off the board and still an attacker that could be threatening you next turn.
Has to consider the energy lot in the hand, and not only in the hand, but in the deck as well. You pointed it out just a little bit earlier. The double turbo energy takes away from your total amount of damage here, but I think we're considering the legacy star, so Minchino only counts as 1, or the legacy energy, excuse me, that counts as the 1 energy here, so it's not even a prize card if Rahul was able to take it next turn.
And you saw Steven shaking his head there. It's because of the 3 energy still left in the prize cards, is forced to use that legacy energy and the attachment from hand. Now with the 4 is still 1 missing. He's going to have to attach another double turbo, but that should be more than enough to take the knockout here, but it's just a lot of resources.
It's a lot of resources going down here too, and even when we're going to be able to get Iron Hands out of the prizes here, we have that legacy energy attached to Chinchino, so we can't even use it for an Ampu very much on a Lugia. So it's definitely going to be an interesting play here now for Steven Varesko, who only needs 2 more prizes to take this game back on over to Rahul's side.
And I think we saw the boss's orders on the Lugia V on the bench, just because that is another Pokemon that could evolve and gain even more hit points with that V-Star. And that way that Pheasantipity EX is just sitting there waiting for the last KO, because you don't want to KO the Raiko because of the legacy energy. And there just was not enough energy in the deck for Chinchino to take the KO on the V-Star.
Unfortunately, we've only seen one coin flip go in Rahul's favor. Now, granted, it was definitely the one that we needed, but Rahul's favorite numbers must be 1, 3, and 5 because he has only been flipping it here. But speaking of flipping, we also get to flip the script here. Oh, I like this bench play coming out from Rahul. It's very important to note, once again, one of the biggest discrepancies in the list is that Rahul is playing 1 lightning energy here. So granted, an Ampu very much won't take, it'll actually go through the legacy energy, and we're still able to take a prize.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to even try to eye down that. Maybe just because with the double turbo energy, it reduces your damage to 100. And that Chinchino has 110 HP. There is the 2 bench Pokemon sitting there, that Luminion V and the Squawkabilly. So might just be forced to use a boss's orders. But if you do that, Chinchino's sticking around. It's a pretty easy KO with just an energy attachment.
And we can see through the hand. We don't even have the boss's orders to really kind of work through right now. So it is just going to be the Lightning Rondo for 0 prizes. Thanks to that legacy energy, you can just say, you know what, you take 1 fewer prize cards. And if that is on a single prizer, you get nothing for all that work.
Now, I guess the best thing for Roll right here is there's no real attacker on Steven's side of the board. Is going to have to cobble together something, maybe even a Blood Moon Ursaluna EX, just trying to finish off this game.
Yeah, and honestly, thinking about the other kind of side of the prize mapping, right? If Rahul did boss's orders there, Blood Moon Ursaluna could have easily just come down from the hand, find a boss's orders as well, and then that could have been game on something like the Pheasantipity EX sitting on the other side. So we are just going to go on ahead. I don't see any special energy left in deck.
They are all in the hand for Steven, so that takes away the possibility of just dropping the Blood Moon Ursaluna, Jet Energy, Primal Turbo to it, boss's orders, and win the game and go on to top 4. Now you're forced to Iono those energies back into the deck and hope Blood Moon Ursaluna EX can just go the distance the next couple of turns.
Yeah, you unfortunately just have to let this Squawkabilly go and just kind of throwing it to the birds at that point. And this Raikou is going to be absolutely hitting for knockout, but it's also hitting for weakness too. Rahul's Raikou, this is what I like to call Rainbow Lugia, because there's more than just special energy in the deck. But my goodness, look at all of those boss's orders in hand for Rahul. Definitely not the worst thing you could have asked for.
Yeah, this is the scary part now, because Steven's basically like, yeah, you could take this Squawkabilly EX prize. Yeah, I want you to do it with the Iron Hands. Amp you very much. Sure, take 3 prizes. Because then this Blood Moon EX is attacking for free, and I'm taking a knockout on that Iron Hands EX.
Esagosa going to flip heads here for Rahul. Here comes the Earthen Vessel here, like we were talking about. Rahul using it, though, just as a little bit of a search here, see what we have left in the deck. But I definitely like the Iono play from Steven, saving the resources as well. But here's that Primal Turbo. We can just assume it is going to be a swing with this Lugia V-Star.
Yeah, Lugia V-Star into the Blood Moon even is potential. Just have it in the active, kind of damage it. But again, that's not really going to give you the win here. You got to take 2 prizes, hope to dodge a boss's orders. And, oh, yeah, boss's orders the Blood Moon. We're going to do this play here.
Fleetfoot for 1 just to see, just another Lugia V, but it is going to be the Lightning Rondo for 220 here. So we're taking our win condition here. Let's see if we can find a potential top deck here for a Blood Moon Ursaluna attack. Steven Varesko has been kind of on the line of just winning here, but unfortunately with the prize, or with the energy cards being in hand, it's just not as easy here. See what exactly is going to happen here. It is so close in this game number 2.
I think there's enough energy for Steven to actually attack with the Blood Moon Ursaluna. It just all depends on if there is a boss's orders to be able to take the game. Remember, the legacy energy on the Raikou means it's only a single prize attacker instead of the 2 prizes you normally get for knocking out Pokemon V.
Here's the problem that we have been running into this entire time, Jeremy, where it is, I have a way to get victory this turn, but my bench is full, right? You have Squawkabilly sitting there. You have Luminion sitting there too. So it is just going to be this single prize card coming up for Steven here. Has 1 prize card left. Rahul definitely going to get the Blood Moon Ursaluna out of play now, but what else can we do to ensure victory next turn?
Yeah, Steven's running low on energy and Pokemon to really attack with. This might be the opening Roll needs to try to take out the game from under Steven's clutches.
I like this here. Rahul going to flip tails, thinking about the Luminion here. Could potentially go back into the deck, find another supporter if we really choose to. It's very interesting to see what lines we can take. I do believe there is a boss in hand already, but I don't see another line that would be as optimal as just throwing out the Tempest Dive and then just taking 2 prize cards here.
Yeah, if it's left in the deck, the Luminous Sign for the last Iono could be huge, but we're just going to see a Jacques here. So not able to disrupt the hand from Steven, and it's going to allow him to even flip the script next turn after taking this KO.
So close here. See what exactly is going to happen. Has the Luminous Sign here, but the manual attach of that double turbo energy onto the Pheasantipity here will be the Tempest Dive, discarding Mesagosa as well. And now Steven has a big, big choice to make. It is going to be looking like, I mean, I think all of these Pokemon just have a retreat cost of 1, so it doesn't really matter what we're throwing into the active here. We'll see how we recover, because all Steven needs is, oh my goodness, think about it, Jeremy.
Yep,
he has nothing to kind of work with, right? Rahul or Steven has full bench, so we're unable to really get the Weird Gear down all the way through, especially with a V-Guard energy attached. Rahul will be able to recover after a series of unfortunate coin flips.
Yeah, I think there was about 2 total energy left available for Steven, 1 in hand and then 1 in the deck. That is not enough to attack with anything that's left. You were really hoping to have that Blood Moon Ursaluna EX for that last turn of the game. And it's interesting because you had to kind of bench it because of the hand disruption, and Rahul having that boss's orders to be able to just put pressure on it, and that legacy energy finally coming in clutch, having that Raikou just stick around for so long.
Yeah, it was getting tons of mileage there. Dare I say the MVP. But it always is, it just feels like the tempo of the match is just always going down to everybody's first turn. So we are going to check out the replay here to see how Rahul was able to stay in this match, because honestly, Jeremy, for a while here, was not looking too good.
Yeah, decided to go first. That's what you want to do, but not having access to any Archeops in the discard until your opponent finally got the great play to do it. Mesagoza, the top deck from the fleet-footed, the heads, finding that second Archeops Ultra Ball opened up this play of the Raikou V to be able to take the return KO. And from there, Steven just was lacking energy. 4 of them in the prize cards this game. Granted, taking a bunch of knockouts and setting things up pretty well, but just unfortunately ran out of energy and attackers once the game went long.
Going back to game 1, you have to think about how much mileage Iron Hands EX got with that legacy energy there, and forcing to use it onto the Minccino, and great, that does a good job of, you know, offsetting the prize trade. It's not exactly what we want to see, but this is what I'd like to see. Both players starting off with their Lugias in the active, no Blood Moon Ursalunas or Weird Deers in the active. It is just going to be more of a standard start, but it is going to be the Capturing Aroma, flipping heads here for Steven. Got to look at the prize cards though. That Iron Hands EX now still in the prizes alongside an Iron Bundle, but only 1 double turbo energy in the prizes for Steven. That's looking a lot better.
Yeah, I'm actually fine with this. You got access to your 2-2 Cinccino line. It should be good enough. You can even get that Minccino down thanks to that Capturing Aroma. Meanwhile, Rahul, those prize cards, you got your 1 of Minccino again. Maybe it's the Cinccino. They both look the same.
It's
with
the
great
Cinccino. I
art.
can see the little scarf.
Along with the Squawkabilly EX. It is a little unfortunate if Rahul has to go that game plan, but I do see a Luminion V in the hand, so you never want to bench it, but with the Iron Hands in the prizes, maybe it's okay.
Not the worst just pass in the world. We did have a choice there whether to go for the Minccino or for the Squawkabilly EX. We did have access to it, but still, speaking of supporters here, we are going to be able to see Luminion V for that Luminous Sign and grabbing Professor's Research, and we're going to start going through this deck as fast as possible. You know, both players have so much on the line here. They've already made top 8, which is a great accomplishment, but it's 1 game that's separating them between here and top 4.
And it's kind of deja vu, except now for Steven, kind of mirroring Rahul's turn 1, where there's just no Archeops in the discard and is really going to have to work for it on the next turn, but a big Professor's Research discards 2 energy and that Blood Moon Ursaluna EX.
There are tons of lines that we actually have off of here. We could go for the Capturing Aroma right now to try and discard, try and flip heads. And for the first time, we're not even going to be able to see it. Rahul just cannot flip heads too often here. Well, we had an Ultra Ball there for a discard potentially, but this may just be a read the wind type of turn here for Rahul. I can only imagine if that Capturing Aroma turns up heads, Jeremy, would have been a much different of a turn.
Yeah, honestly, you still have access to the Ultra Ball with the 1 Archeops in the hand, so you can Ultra Ball for another Archeops and then read the wind, discard it to draw 3 cards. That way you have both of them in the discard for the next turn. You also have a second Lugia V on the bench, so even if the active gets knocked out, you're still able to recover with that Summoning Star on the following turn.
It is just going to be the read the wind of the Archeops there. Got a stacked hand if you're Rahul, but over on to Steven's side, we're going to see the evolution into the Chinchino already. We get Jet Energy as well. Has the research already in hand too. So I believe we were looking for some Archeops. There's one. We just need to find another, and it's so risky in a matchup like this to just Summoning Star for 1 Archeops. You really have to dig. It's really coming down to some of these Capturing Aromas, which you either hate or you love to see. Big roll right here, unable to find it. I don't know if it flipped up heads or not, but it's tails. And once again, you cannot go and grab an evolution Pokemon with tails here, so you have to figure out what else you can do to reinsure something, but this could be a huge miss for Steven.
Yeah, fortunately for Steven, does have an Ultra Ball in hand, so you can Ultra Ball the Archeops that's in the hand, go ahead and grab the Lugia V-Star, use Summoning Star, grab both of the Archeops onto the bench. Primal Turbo can charge up this Chinchino and take a knockout on the Lugia V. The unfortunate thing, though, is, well, I guess it's not really unfortunate. Roll has a ton of cards in hand, so the gift energy is doing nothing.
Yeah. What a prize trade here, and I think it's something to note out here on Steven's side here too, is that I felt like last game our bench was a little kind of tight for attackers. We weren't really able to get anything kind of set up here, but that's the perks of playing our 2-2 line of Minccino and Chinchino here, is that we actually have another attacker almost ready to go here. You have the Lugia V-Star as well, but it is just going to be the Primal Turbo onto our active Chinchino here, so we're going to start getting things ready to roll.
Special roll.
Yes. That was a joke. Thank you, Jeremy.
Oh, you're welcome.
See the 5 special energy onto this Chinchino. Going to be taking the knockout, but like you said, the gift energy isn't going to activate all the way here because Rahul has so many cards already in hand.
So with that knockout, Steven again starts the prize race here. And Rahul finally gets that heads off Capturing Aroma, so we can find another Archeops. Already has the Ultra Ball in hand, so that guarantees the V-Star and that Summoning Star.
Got to get set up here too, though. I mean, we can take out the Chinchino with a Lugia V-Star. That's no worry at all, but we're not even considering the fact that Steven has another one waiting on bench. Also just pulled the Iron Hands off of the prizes as well. Legacy Energy hasn't even dropped onto the Pokemon yet. So we have a ton of different routes over Steven, and I'm not seeing any other plays. I mean, this could be a play here too. We could hit the Chinchino for 2 prizes and still hit that 2-2 prize mapping.
It will require something like a retreat with the double turbo energy from the active or a jet energy attached manually to that Iron Hands EX, but I believe it is in Rahul's hand to be able to pull that off.
So double Primal Turbo here going on over into the Iron Hands. We are just, or considering another line of way to go. And that's the cool thing about playing Lugia. Depending on what your deck list provides, you could be kind of throwing your energies in different ways here, but it is just going to be the gift and the jet. I like throwing the gift onto the Iron Hands as well here for Rahul. We definitely want to keep drawing those cards and seeing those cards, but I mean, this could be spelling trouble here too, Jeremy. And I mean, if we could easily just see a Luminion Boss's, Luminion V, Luminous Sign Boss's orders here too.
Well, here is the Ampu very much taking 2 prizes off the Chinchino. Steven does get to draw a couple cards with the gift energy, which is always nice. Again, he is just trying to set up another Cinccino for the following turn, or it might even be too taxing on the energy and maybe have to go a route of attacking with this Lugia V-Star. But again, this V-Star is not taking a knockout on the active, will be forced to try to find that boss's orders like you were saying.
Misagosa flip here, and it is going to be the tails. It's not going to find us that boss that we need here. We got a lot of stuff going on in the hand. I did think I see an Ultra Ball at some point, so we could actively get the Cinccino here, but we are going to flip the script first before we use any of our resources here. Both players, it is so close. Another Ultra Ball here too, where we are going to discard just Lugia V and Lugia V-Star. It's already served its purpose, right? Especially in a matchup where Rahul's playing that Raikou line too, and you definitely don't want to see that hit for weakness.
Ultra Ball is most likely going to find this Lumineon, grab that boss's orders, and honestly, yeah, taking out the Lumineon. You could also maybe eye down an Arceus, but that's just not really the game plan you're going for here with the prize mapping.
Not the prize mapping that you could want at all here too, and I think it's also important to note that unless Rahul goes for the manual attachment of the lightning energy, Ampy very much is not going to take down Lugia with the lightning weakness either, because it has evolved here. So double primal turbo coming up here for Steven Varesko. Definitely getting in line to call it checkmate, if you will. What are the lines that Rahul can even do to kind of bring this back into favor?
Well, you at least have to maybe just try to take out the Cinccino on the bench. You're still going to have access to Ampu very much, and that's the one Pokemon that can take a knockout outside of the Blood Moon Ursaluna now, or even the Weirdeer. But we do see the Weirdeer in hand for Steven. Even has access to the Ultra Ball, like you were saying, but boss's orders bring up the Lumineon, easy 2 prizes, leaving just one more big knockout for Steven to move on to top 4.
We haven't even seen the Legacy energy hit the bench just yet. Very active threats on Steven's side, setting up for the checkmate here. This is a very big turn for Rahul, but finds a couple boss's orders off at the top, so we'll see what exactly the line is. And like you said, Jeremy, I mean, we could go for another Ampu very much, but I mean, the thing is here too is that the double turbo energy attached onto Lugia also buys us some time, allows the Iron Hands to take the hit. So if anything, I'm really just kind of seeing we power up this Lugia V-Star, we knock out that Cinccino onto the bench, and then we just hope for a turn to kind of play around.
Yeah, best case scenario for Rahul here is having the Iono in the hand just to be able to hand disrupt Steven and just dodge that Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. The one thing that's rough, though, is Iono's still stuck at the top of the prize cards for Rahul. I don't know if he's already played the second one for the rest of the game here, and you're kind of forced to boss's orders this Cinccino anyway. So I think this is just game over. As long as there's energy left in the deck, you need one to be able to attack with the Blood Moon Ursaluna. We see the Jet Energy in hand along with the Ultra Ball.
It all makes sense to me here. Top deck is going to be just the Archeops, but like you said, Iron Bundle is going to be the decision there here. It could also just be a Iron Hands with Legacy Energy coming down here too, but it is going to be the Weirdeer here.
This will be enough.
Yeah, 40 times as many energy on it, and thanks to Lugia V-Star, you're going to have a ton here. So it is going to be activating Weirdeer's Frontier Road, where you're able to just take all of the energy up into a vacuum and spit it right back out from that Weirdeer onto your opponent's active Pokemon. I see it here, and that will be win for Steven Varesko as long as all of the energy is there. Still counting it out, but I'm pretty sure it's go time, Jeremy.
Yeah, and there you go. Jet Energy helps the Weirdeer V bring all the energy to the active, and just like that, Steven Varesko moving on to top 4 with Lugia V-Star. Then pretty much the most traditional list we've seen throughout this format.
Honestly, it was such a hard-fought battle for both competitors here. We saw a ton of heartbreak in coin flips as well, but a great masterclass on different ways that you can play Lugia, different types of energy that you can put in there, different types of attackers. Personally, I love Rahul's list, but unfortunately, it will be Steven Varesko winning this match. And you know a big hug's coming in for these two players who have known each other for so long. But I gotta say, Jeremy, we gotta check this replay for what a wildfire of a top 8 match we had.
Now let's go ahead and take a look here. It is just pretty insane how a mirror match can shape up depending on how the cards fall and the coin flip as well. And that's how this first game went. Steven starting off first, starting that Iron Hands EX with the Legacy Energy to attach for turn 1, turn 2, Summoning Star after that Ultra Ball double Archeops, taking the knockout, and then Chinchino coming in, taking the knockout on the Raikou V, doing what it does best, using its favorite special role, happy hour at Sushi, and it really was just smooth sailing for that first game. Game 2 was a little bit different. Rahul going first, did not have any Archeops in the discard, no route for Summoning Star, but was able to get it out in play just a turn after Steven did. But Raikou V proving the difference in this game with that Legacy Energy, just taking knockout after knockout, and eventually Rahul was able to take this game too.
Such an exciting set here, but dare I say, Jeremy, that if you went first, you won in the game. And honestly, a lot of our players that we saw today and throughout the weekend playing Lugia had really creative routes of getting the Archeops out, whether it be just all natural, finding Ultra Ball double Archeops, or using things like Read the Wind, capturing Aroma as well. We see kind of the downfall of this deck at times can be just having to miss a turn because either your bench is too full or you just can't find that second Archeops. But Steven Varesko is going to be moving on in this tournament. Rahul, a very respectful top 8 here at his, honestly, home regional here, Baltimore.
Yeah, doing one better than World's 9th place, but of course, great accomplishment still just to make top 8. And it shows the consistency that you're able to accomplish as well. And of course, both of these players were still looking for that regional win. Steven Varesko still has an opportunity to make that happen.
Yeah, and doing it with Lugia V-Star too, a deck that was pretty low on the day 1 graphic. A lot of people were not really counting Lugia V-Star in at all this weekend. They were just kind of riding the Reggie Drago